Hello, class. Welcome to week 5, where we are going to zero in on family dynamics, family relationships. And you are supposed to do a genogram. Let me encourage you to have fun and play around with the genogram symbols and lay out your family at least through your parents and hopefully even a generation before your parents. But don't get so bogged down that you miss the main point. The main point is that you are to find patterns of things that may affect your marriage and your family. So, for example, in my family, as I look at my parents, my mother has bone cancer. My father has had several operations for intestinal cancer. I have one brother who has had a kidney removed due to cancer and then another tumor recently. So, guess what I need to be careful of? Cancer. Another thing would be on my father's side, a a history of alcohol, not so much gambling with him, but with his father. Now, I'm such a cheapskate that gambling to me is not a temptation, but this addictive personality, it could come out in workaholism. So, trace that back and see what is there any addictive issues in your family. Anxiety seems to be a hereditary issue for us, so I have to watch that. Now, I was raised Roman Catholic, and I did not become a true believer until I went away to college, and I kind of had an allergic reaction to anything that smacked of high church. My wife, on the other hand, was raised Presbyterian. She loved it, and she loves high church. So that has been a little bit of a cause of conflict for our church preference. So you can think that through your family of origins church preference. Now, fortunately, divorce has not been a pattern in either my wife or my family, and that's a good thing. A caution can be, though, that some family of origins so value not getting divorced that things can be swept under the rug and ignored and covered up. So that may be something you want to pursue. So that's just an example of how to use this tool to think through how your family influences your current family. You are also supposed to read the article on the myths of marriage, 4 myths of marriage. One is we expect exactly the same things from our marriage. And you may have read the article and seen that the example was what do your families of origins think of holidays? And you may think, oh, well, that's such a petty thing. That's not really going to be a problem. Boy, let me tell you, in some of the marriage counseling I've done with young couples, the expectations of the families of origin are the biggest stressors in that marriage. So it is a real issue. What do your parents expect of you when it comes to being with your kids, with Christmas, with Easter, with birthdays? Do they allow you to say, "Hey, we can't make it this time"? So, what are the expectations that you bring in from your family of origin? A second myth, everything good in our relationship will get better. Well, hopefully that's true, but sometimes the things that you found initially attractive can become incredibly irritating. My wife really appreciated that I have an analytic brain. We met in seminary. She loved talking about theology and so forth. Um, I've always had an interest in watching the news and analyzing things, but there's a point in her world where that's just too much. Turn off the news, stop analyzing, stop reading theology. Can we just have like a real relationship? So, So that, which was initially um, intriguing, there's a limit to it. Now, with her, I found her spontaneity very appealing, and just you don't know what to expect, and it's fun. And but here's where an analytic guy can say, "Wait a minute, I thought we were going out to eat, and now you want to go to Walmart. Can we stick with the plan?" So realize even those things that you found attractive may be a bit irritating later on. Anticipate it. Number three, everything bad in my life will disappear. Well, this is placing way too much burden on a spouse. Yes, she is a gift from God, but she is not a savior. But if you listen to love songs, watch romantic movies, um, they can paint this picture that you fall in love and live happily ever after, and she'll take all my problems away. That is a burden that nobody can live up to. And then finally, my spouse will make me whole. Now, there's a degree of truth to this. Um, God said about Adam, it is not good to be alone. So he made Eve. What I believe our authors are getting at is the truth that the Apostle Paul actually affirmed and preferred singleness, and he found wholeness in relationships, not necessarily in marriage, but in the church and with his co-missionaries. So let's not elevate marriage to such a high degree that we're making single people feel like they're incomplete. And the other thing is, if you can't be content in any state, including in your state of singleness, you shouldn't place the burden for ultimate fulfillment and wholeness on your spouse. In other words, a great way to test whether you'll be content in marriage is how are you doing being content single? So those are just some thoughts. Play with them and try to apply the article to your own life.